Halloween is almost upon us, and Marvel has treated us older fans to a much bloodier version of our favorite heroes. The brand new animated series Marvel Zombies promised a wild, gory ride through the Marvel universe. But does it live up to its word? Or is it just another experiment that gets lost in the endlessly growing projects of Disney Plus? Let's get into it. So, Marvel Zombies takes the superhero world as we know and twists it into a full blown apocalypse. Our favorite heroes and villains are transformed into fleshy, hungry monsters, while the survivors embark on a dangerous quest to bring back order to a dying world. On paper, it's the perfect mashup. The MCU meets zombie horror. But perfect isn't the word I'd use to describe this show. Here's why. Right away, this show comes from the foundations already laid by the most popular episode of the What If series. The episode not only set the animation and tone, but also a starting point for the narrative, although the writers and producers had different ideas. Making a mature and graphic MCU version? Great idea. Making the ending of a breakthrough episode a subplot and a tonally mismatched farewell to Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther? I think not. The late Chadwick Boseman was a powerhouse actor that elevated every scene he was in and brought so much impact to his character. Having his last performance be a part of the What If series, I completely understand why they wanted to pay homage to his character one last time. But I found this tonally out of touch. Yes, they were smart enough not to turn him into a zombie. The outcry that would have caused, I can only imagine. But having a comic book style sacrifice in a mature adult series rather than in a family friendly film where younger viewers would have more appreciation is wild to me. Especially when Black Panther Wakanda Forever was nearly a 2 hour memorial. Despite my opinion, rest in peace, Chadwick. You will be sorely missed. Unfortunately, Black Panther isn't the only character that suffers here. Character moments, deaths, and there are plenty of them, and emotional beats do land, but only if you already know the MCU inside and out. The show relies heavily on prior Marvel knowledge to make these moments meaningful, on its own, it doesn't always stand tall as a self contained story. Speaking of story, let's talk about the writing. On the one hand, it captures the vibe of classic comics, bold, dramatic, and larger than life. On the other hand, it leans way too hard on the exposition. Whenever a plot hole pops up, instead of letting events speak for themselves, the show introduces a side character just to dump exposition and then vanish. It keeps the story moving, but at the cost of a natural flow and depth. I know if you're watching this, then you've probably got years of Marvel knowledge under your belt, but here lies the problem. If the tone in the world is going to change, then at least give the audience a chance to change their connection to these characters too. Change is definitely the name of the game here, and I'm torn whether this next point is a positive or not. With the MCU being so large, Marvel Zombies tries to cover as much ground as physically possible. And I mean that literally and figuratively. The series jumps from one iconic Marvel location to another: Wakanda, New York, Asgard, Atlantis. And while that sounds exciting, it never slows down enough for any of them to make a real impact. Every 15 minutes, we're packing up and heading to the next backdrop. And while variety is usually a good thing, here it feels rushed and disjointed, like the writers were in a hurry to cram every fan favorite location into one season. If we only see one season, I understand, but with the way the series ended, I very much doubt that. Despite some messy decision making, there is still a lot of meat on the bone here. Excuse the pun. Usually, the series looks fantastic. Zombie stories usually get the grim, desaturated grey treatment, although Marvel Zombies goes the opposite route. Bold colors, striking contrasts, and playful use of light that makes every scene pop. Even in the moments of pure horror, there's almost this vibrancy. It's a refreshing change of pace for the genre as a whole. And visually, it doesn't stop there. Surprisingly, the cinematography is another highlight. Shots of Spider Man tearing zombie heads from their shoulders, or Zombie Namor brooding in his ocean throne, really stick with you. These moments carry weight and atmosphere, reminding us that Marvel can still push the boundaries visually, even in animation. I'm also a big fan of the animation style, as not only does it remind the viewer of this world's comic book roots, but allows the creators to deliver jaw dropping moments. If you're coming for superhero spectacle, you're in the right place. The larger than life battles feel tailor made for animation. Blade Knight and Infinity Hulk steal the spotlight by a country mile. Their action sequences are insane, brutal, and exactly the kind of wild energy you want to see in a show like this. With fans chomping at the bit for a more comic accurate Hulk and the Blade live action film in development hell, this was well needed for Marvel fans. They also provide a great counterbalance to the MCU's usual over the top humor, which thankfully is toned down here, unlike their action. But let's not forget, this is supposed to be a zombie show. And here's the problem: the normal mindless zombies are genuinely terrifying. The chaos, the unpredictability, the sheer numbers, it works. But the zombie superheroes, honestly, they come off more like gimmicks than threats. Instead of being frightening, they feel more cosmetic. They look cool, but the menace isn't really there. In the end, the show feels torn between two identities: a unique zombie story set in the MCU, and just another MCU series with zombies. It flip flops between gritty horror and Marvel's familiar brand of quips and spectacle. The result is entertaining but uneven. So, is Marvel Zombies worth watching? Absolutely, especially for fans of the comics or anyone craving something different from Marvel. But as a standalone series, it really struggles in its balance, its tone, its pacing, and its characters. It's fun, it's colourful, and it has some jaw-dropping moments, but it could have been so much more, which is an ongoing thing I hear when it comes to the What If series as a whole. But that's just my opinion, so tell me if you think Marvel Zombies is worth watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, this doesn't happen without you.